We'll do them in order. So let's zoom in here on the wedge. All we needed was a top and front view for this guy. Not much to this. The hard part is the teeth, and we've already done the teeth, so we're just going to copy and paste those, no problem. All right. So I think I'll do this right next to this guy here. And I'll turn on those construction layers. That's construction layer 3. There it is. Okay. So this first offset is 1/2 inch. That is the thickness of the part. And then I put about 1 inch in between these guys for space. And then I offset that line 1 1/8 inches. Okay? So those are your two offsets going in the vertical direction. In the horizontal direction, your offset is 3.5 inches. So I'll do that. There you go. Just make this right next to it. Scoot that over. Okay. So yeah, just a couple offsets, 1/2 inch thick in this view, 1 1/8 in the top view, and then 3.5 inches wide. Super simple. You can make a rectangle to constrain that part, and this one is constrained by another line we need to make, which is the, as you can see here, the 14-degree line, and that of course matches the 14-degree angle that was in the block. So you can draw that line. The truth is we don't even need to draw that line to draw the part, because we're just going to copy the teeth. However, you are going to need it to draw the, to create the dimension, because your dimension is going to have to click on an actual line. So let's just put it in anyway. Get on my correct layer here and make a construction line at, what would the angle that be? So remember, we measure from 0 on this side, so you can go measure all the way around, which would be 180 minus 14. Or you could just say negative 14, which is what I'm going to do. So an angle of negative 14 degrees. There it is. Coming out of here. Okay, so there's your basic shape right there. And you would then click on that. But I'm not going to do that because this line is not an actual line. It is teeth. So how do we get those teeth in place? We've already done the hard work. We got them over here. Pick your view. I think I'm going to take mine off the section view. Okay. So I'm just going to grab some teeth right here. C-O, enter. Grab this bunch and just move it into the general vicinity of my new drawing so that I can then zoom in on it and place it properly. So I'm going to zoom in tight here. Not using that part, of course. And then don't need that. Don't really need that either. Just get this and move it from that endpoint to the right. There. Okay, and now I'm ready to copy. I'm going to copy the rest of this. And just go from endpoint to endpoint, right? Keep going. Okay. Get rid of these guys. Trim that one off. Okay, perfect. So that is the top view. And then this front view, looking at the teeth head on, I just made a section of it here, dropping down the construction lines and then copied the rest. So zoom in and see how we do that. Just copied a construction line here to each peak and I should say each crest and root. That's enough. And I'll trace those over. So I've copied, I made a couple of them. Then I copied those two like 5 times. And now I'm going to copy this whole group a bunch of times to speed things up. In the real world, would you put all these? Maybe, maybe not. You might have just put a few and said forget it. But it wasn't that hard. We're done. So that's it. That is it, aside from dimensions, of course, for the wedge. The wedge is complete. Okay. So now you see it. Now you don't. Let's move on to the screw. The screw is a little more complicated. A little more. I'm going to turn on those construction layers. That's number 4. Guess I moved all this stuff. I need to put it back. Okay. So the screw. Trim some of these lines out of the way here. You're going to start with a center line, of course. And then we're going to offset all these guys. So let's get to it. In my construction layer, I will make a vertical line. All right. So the first offsets you'd want to do, and I'll do these with you. The first offset you'd want to do, the first horizontal one that is, I just said, let's just make it the top. Why not? Top of the screw. Okay. And then I'm offsetting its full length. So its full length is 2 3/4, or 2.75. Okay. And then working on the head of the screw, your first offset is 9/16. And then the next one is 1/8. Okay. All right. And then at the bottom, the offsets are a 1/16 and then an 1/8. And then we got this angle to deal with. We'll just do the 1/16 first. And then the 1/8 of an inch. And the next one is, again, figured out by this angle. So we'll do that later on. So that's it for the offsets on on this guy. Let's offset the vertical line. So the first one we're given is it's the size of this circle up on top, the flat on top, that is the flat spot, which also happens to be the outside diameter of these threads, 1/2 inch. I don't know if that was a coincidence, but they have the same offset. And from center, that will be 1/4 inch. So, enter, 0.25, enter, 1/4 inch on both sides. The next offset is the outer diameter of this ring here, and that's a 5/8 diameter. So the offset is 5/16. Okay, so those are the two main guys. If you look over here, the diameter of the inside threads, that is the root of the thread, and the diameter of this round part on the bottom happen to be the same diameter, and that is 3/8. So we can do that as well. And that is, so the offset would be 3/16. So there you go. Okay. Before we draw the front view of this guy, I want to draw the top view. The top view is going to give us some information. It's going to tell us where this line is. And you can see it by coincidence, it happens to line up with this diameter, the one that we just did, the diameter on the bottom, the inside of the threads, and this line right here, this edge, which comes from this intersection right here, just all by coincidence, happen to be the same value. It's really weird. But anyway, let's do that top view now. And I'll draw another construction line. And I'll line it up on that center there. Okay. So we got a couple circles to draw. And we are given the first one as a 1/2 inch. So that's going to go to here. And then the other one was the 5/8 to there. Now what's interesting is the square sides of the screw. That's what the wrench is going to grab. So let's zoom in on that top piece. We are told that, or shown that they are a 1/2 inch across. So I know these are their sides here. I need to offset this line a 1/2 inch on both sides too, is what I'm getting at. Or copy it to the top of this, either way. So offsetting, it's actually 1/4 inch up and 1/4 inch down. That then creates the corners for this guy. Sorry, I think I grabbed the wrong corners. Here they are. 1/2 inch. Okay. And they get machined off. So we're going to trim those away. I'm going to turn off my construction lines now and show you that what's getting trimmed away here. So that was just a 1/2 inch square. And this is a 1/2 inch circle. And this is a 5/8 inch circle. These are the flat sides of the head of this bolt. And these areas right in here, these kind of triangular shaped pieces are beveled off. If you look at the isometric view, you can see that they are angled down. They're actually an angle of 30 degrees. And it's just a bevel, but the bevel only hits the corners of this bolt head. They were created on a lathe, so the spinning part, its corners that get knocked off, but what is left behind is this circular shape, a flat up here. So we have a flat, we have these angles going down, and then it drops out, and then this area here is these 4 pie pieces are also flat. So we're looking at the top view of that. I'm going to zoom out. Hopefully, as you look at that and look at the isometric view on the sheet we were given, that makes sense to you. So now for the side view of this bolt. Let's turn the construction lines back on. We are told, and this is probably a good place to start, that this is this ring here, and it's a cylinder, you know, technically a short cylinder, this ring, and that's what it looks like in the side view, just a rectangle. And then we have this squarish part. It's a rectangle in this view because it's 9/16 high, but only a 1/2 inch wide. And that would be that if the top piece was perfectly square, but it's not perfectly square. The corners get knocked off on the sides and the corners get knocked off on the top. And the reason for that is it makes it really easy to handle the corner. Because there's no corners, they're not going to get dinged up, you know, and as this thing gets used a lot, and it is just used constantly. A wrench is being applied to it just, I don't know, 50 times a day. So knocking the corners off makes it much more wear-worthy. So we've got that taken care of, the corner issue taken care of in the top view. So now we need to address it in this side view here. You can see that this construction line, which I referred to already, and it's to show the root of the thread, just happens to line up with where this face intersects that corner, just right on the money. So you can just draw that line, and that is what it would look like. So that's essentially a bevel that you're looking at, or a chamfer. This face is flat, the face on the edge is flat looking that way, and then the space in between those two lines that my cursor's on right now is at a 45-degree angle. It's a chamfer. Okay, so that's pretty easy to grasp. The next thing that's a little harder to grasp is this top chamfer, which is not at 45 degrees. We are told it's at 30 degrees. And how does that work? Well, the question is, where is it coming down? So I drew a 30-degree angled construction line. You can see right over here. And you can just go Excel, enter, A, enter, and type in -30 if you want to do it like I did. And place it on this corner. So that is where it would be. If this part was rotated 45 degrees and the beveled portion, this is where it would be, okay? So if I took this whole thing, and I could probably do it for you right now. Let's see what happens if I actually rotate that. RO, enter, right off the center, and I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. There you go. So you can see that that is where, right there at this line here, that is where the angle begins, and it goes down to this line, just like I have it there. So that's what that is representing. Okay. And that's going to give me the height. So now if I put a horizontal construction line through that point, that's how I know how deep the chamfer is. Okay, and in this view, this head-on view, we see that it creates this arc on this face. And if you look in the isometric view, again, that they gave us, it's very evident. And that is that's a very realistic phenomenon. So the way to create that arc is just with a simple 3-point arc, just the default 3-point arc, and it's just start, middle, end, right there. So those 3 points, start, middle, end. I can zoom in on that for you. One more time. Start, middle, and end. That's it. That is what that that guy looks like. And then this bit right here is angled, and there is an edge there, so you have to acknowledge that edge. Okay, and that is this right here. This little bit right there is that line right there. And then the next arc would be on this face over here, which we cannot see. So it's a little weird, a little hard to envision, but oh, I didn't trim those off. Sorry, I need to trim those pieces away. That is the deal. So this piece right in here, this little area right in here, is this guy in here, this whole 30-degree corner that got knocked off. That is this view right here. Okay, so that's the head of the bolt for you. Let's keep working down. Where the threads of the bolt intersect the head, we are told that there is a 3/32 radius in addition to the standard chamfer that would be there. So I included that, and it wasn't spec'd out, but when threads are created, that is something that is done. But in addition to the threads, we have this rounded chamfer. I'm sorry, fillet. Sorry. So, how is that created? Pretty simple. Just offset this line here, the 3/32. So O, enter, 3/32, and that's this line right here down. And so that will give you the radius that they're after. And we could just draw that with an object line right now if we wanted. It'd be like this from here to here. So I got those two lines, and then I can go to fillet, F, enter, R, enter, 3/32, and then fillet those two little pieces like that. So that is how you would create that. Or you could just have drawn a 3/32 arc, of course, or circle, and then trimmed it out. Lots of ways to do it. Okay, so that gets us the fillet that was specced out. The next thing we need to get is this chamfer that is used in thread creation. It wouldn't have to be there. You could just have done this for, you know, for the record. You could have just said, that's my bolt. And well, I think I drew those out too far, sorry. I'm just gonna mirror the other stuff. And you could have just done that, let's just say, and left that there, and then extended that line down. But it's a little more realistic to put this chamfer in, and they did note that on the bottom. So, they may, interesting, they may also have, and because they didn't give us a detailed view of it, they may also have had the assumption that this arc was going to continue out around to here rather than it be a chamfer, because that would be another acceptable way to terminate the threads going into this bolt if they had a tool that was just totally rounded all the way on the ends. Interesting. I think I might do that instead. I bet you that's what they had in mind. So let's mirror this arc. Mirror that guy about this line. Okay. And then continue this down. So this is our threads, and then continue that down, right, to the end. I'm going to zoom out, see a little better here. Trim that little piece off. On second thought, I bet that is what they had in mind. All right. So we got the top done. Next thing to do, the bottom. So bottom's looking pretty simple. We've already got these offsets. This is just corner to corner. Of course, that one goes up. I still have one more to do here. Oh. Okay, so yeah, we are told this guy is a 1/16 of an inch. So let me dimension that over here on this one. So this whole thing is 3/8 of an inch wide, right? And then we're going to offset in from there a 1/16 of an inch. So just to confirm that I am doing this correctly, I think I need to offset this guy a 1/16 of an inch inward. Okay. So if I did that right, that should be like this. That should go up at 45, and then this should go to here. And then this angle we were given as 35. So I would need to make a 35-degree construction line, or negative 35-degree construction line. Through there. Okay. And then follow that guy up to there. So this is a 1/16 inch chamfer on the here, and we have this 3/8 diameter here, and then our outer diameter is 1/2 inch. So let's trim that stuff off and then mirror it. I'm going to go to my trim, or turn off my construction, trim these guys away, zoom out, and then mirror that about the center line. And then connect those lines. The last thing I need to do is show the root of the threads. So I'm going to do that on my hidden line here. The root of the threads going up. So that takes care of this view of the bolt. In the top view, there's just a smidge remaining. We have, if we could look through it, we could see this diameter and this diameter, right? So if I turn my construction lines back on, see what I'm talking about here. This diameter and then the inner diameter, which is a 1/16 inch in. So I would be this circle here to here. So that represents the 3/8 diameter down here. And then you could offset that guy in another 1/16 inch to show you this smallest flat face on the bottom. And that's that one right there. So that's this little bottom face. And that small circle right there, that 1/4 inch circle, is the one that's actually making contact with the tool bit that this post is holding. So I'll turn off the construction lines and zoom out a little bit. I didn't finish dimensioning this one, so I'll do that and have it posted for you. Okay, so yeah, get rid of that. Okay, last item here, number 5. Let me get these construction lines out of the way. Where is that coming from? And turn those off, turn those on. Okay. So this is another pretty simple object here. We'll just start with a horizontal line and offset upward 1.875, or 1 7/8. And it's 1 7/8 square, by the way. So you can make another line and offset that. One 7/8. Okay. And then you could offset half that distance to get to its center, or you can just make a line segment and use its midpoint. Go to my object layer, make the square, and then the circles themselves that are the hole and step through this washer. The hole itself that goes through this washer is just slightly larger than the post. Remember that the post diameter was 1 and 7/32. That's going to go through this thing. So it's just, I believe, another 32nd. So 1 and 8/32, right? Which works out to be 1 1/4 inches. So the diameter on that is 1.25. And then there is a step around it. And that allows the base of that tool post to seat in there. So the base of the tool post was 1 and 9/16, right? Or 18/32. And this hole is just 1/32 larger, or this step. So it's 1 and 19/32. Okay. Let me throw those up for us. Yeah. So that is the inner hole, and then the outer as a decimal. Okay. 1D, enter, 1.594. Okay. Put that on the right layer. So that is basically the view of the washer, the front view of the washer. You may think of that as the bottom view if you're looking up from underneath the way it would normally sit on the machine. Let's go to the side view. So our side view here I did in section. And I'll offset the two thicknesses here. They are both 7/32, so O, enter, 7/32. And you can just do one up and then one again. 7/32, or 0.219. And there is this square washer in its side view. And the reason I did the view in section is so that we could dimension it. So we need to bring up these lines from this guy. Just click on the corners here, or the quadrants. There you go. And make this little stair step. I'm just going to do one and then mirror it. Now the thing to note, and we are told, is that there is a 45-degree chamfer on this that is 3/32 in size. So let me zoom in on that. There it is on one side, here it is on ours. It's 3/32 in its legs. So you could offset these lines 3/32 and then trim it, which would be a totally legitimate way to do it. Or you could go to your chamfer tool and say distance D, enter, and type in 3/32, 3/32, enter, enter, and then click the lines. Okay, so that's that. And then you can mirror that to the other side. We do need to show this chamfer in the bottom view. So I'm going to do that by projecting a construction line down from that corner and then zoom out here and draw that ring, okay? So that should be a ring that's simply offset by 3/32, and that would be another way to do it. O, enter 332, and click on this guy and say, yeah, it's 3/32 bigger, and that worked. Okay, the last thing you want to do here is turn off your construction lines and drop in your hatch marks there. So just click on hatch and grab this areas. And I made mine, I think, a bit smaller, 0.9, 0.8, something to get some more lines in there, 0.7, maybe 0.7. That'd be better. Okay, and then all that remains is your cut line using a phantom line type so that you can call this section BB. Remember, we've already done section AA, and then dimension it as such. Okay, and I will post all that for you. The